also first morning in Romania, and the weather is quite foggy. It's a bit cold night. Alright, got my things almost packed here. The setup. As is unfortunately still usual around here, around these lands, is there is a lot of trash everywhere. Sometimes you're just wondering, like, how the education system functions or doesn't, and how to change that. So people just get a bit more aware of their surroundings and just start picking up trash and organizing themselves in a way that it's not that much littering everywhere. Yesterday we had an accident here while trying to fix the ship on shore. One of the Romanian project partners here fell and seems to have broken her arm, or at least injured herself in some way. Anyway, she was rushed to the hospital in Constanța, which is about an hour away by car, or even more. And I know we're a bit worried about her, of course.
She's standing there and now she looks like she's broken something. In general, I'm tough with the face. I don't suffer so much, you know? But this one, don't put me down. It's okay.
So here's most of my stuff. Those are the rolls for sleeping. They're just in this bag here. I also have my reserve shoes in there. Tent's still there. It should go into this bag. When it's folded nicely, you can transport it. And here's just my cloak, my sword, my bag with all my reserve clothes, and komachu bag. Looks like much, but it's actually not that much. Today is a bit of a difficult day. Since I have started going abroad more often with sort of adventures like this one, my other boat trip, etc., I have the feeling that whenever I'm away, things at home just don't work out. People just don't do stuff they can do very well without me. Just everything goes out of control a little bit. This entire journey is a bit of an emotional roller coaster for me in many ways. I feel I have absolutely no control over anything that goes on here. Like a lot of things that people are not competent to take control where they shouldn't. We're getting towed again. And actually, there's a maximum speed. There's a maximum speed at which this boat is able to go and is allowed to go. Pretty sure we're actually quite exceeding that right now. And I can feel the entire thing moving and twisting, twitching. It's not great for the nails, for the entire construction. Shouldn't be that much movement here. We're going here at almost speedboat speed here. These kind of boats just are not made for that. It has been communicated to the tugboat people, but as always, some people that are sure they're more competent than anyone else around them, and they actually don't know jack shit about what they're doing, about the boats they're dealing with. They just do their stuff, and then when it's too late, they're like, oh, oopsie.
Der bleibt da. Heute der weg von der Platz.
One tent, a couple of guys, 700,000 euro ship, completely uncoordinated, no plan, no idea, nothing. That's what happens when you don't have reenactors in charge of reenactment projects.
Alcătuită din foi de metal, articulate cu paramale și curele.
Logica segmentată. Because it's very cold.
Și de ce mă privește,
So hello from Rasova here in Romania, where there is a reenactment event for this project. As you can see, it's 3:30 here. Reenactment group is packing up. There is the boat in the background. We're on an empty shore here. Basically held this event for ourselves. I'm just really it's just really great. There's absolutely nothing really planned or happening. Nobody in the village knew anything about it. Like, people asked us on the street, what's happening here? And we said, well, there is an event, a festivity. Absolutely no one was informed. Like, I don't blame the reenactors here at all. I don't blame the Romanians actually for this disaster. I mean, come on guys. This is a 3 million euro EU project. Look at what this is. This is impossible. Like, I don't even have words for this. Oh my god. I think that's one of the reasons, very picturesque here, why non-reenactors should leave their fingers off reenactment projects, events, etc. Oh. Hell, I have so much to say about this now. I have so much to say. Great. So, hello again from board of the Danuvina Alacris. I'm rowing here every day with the armor on and with my helmet on because I think it might have been one of the ways that these ships have been used. Of course, we can't tell for certain what the equipment was of the sailors and soldiers that were rowing on these ships. So I'm trying out the worst case scenario, rowing in full armor for 10 days. And I'm using the armor and the weight of the helmet to lean myself a little bit back and then just push up the arms. It works actually pretty fine, though I have to admit that after a while you tend to be crouched over and the chainmail still weighs you down and you have a bit of a sore back at the end of the day, but nothing more than that. And also we changed the setup of the oars here. We have them now sitting at the back of those pins, and they used to be set up at the front when I was on the boat for the first time, which proved to be quite inefficient. And so now we changed them to here, so you have all the push and the weight of the oar that goes against the pin, which is much better than it is at the other side where it goes against the rope. It's just you lose a lot of power if it's there. And also we can see that the pin here is wearing off a little bit, which from what I heard is quite consistent with the archaeological record. So we might be onto something here, a little correction of the original setup, but this will remain to be discussed further on by the experts. Another thing that I'm thinking about here is also the setup of these things. We had a little mock reenactment naval battle in Brittany last year with 2 ships and a lot of archers, and stuff that was with me the most is that as an oarsman you are most in danger of getting hit by an arrow So when you're not protected and you don't have anything here that goes at least over your head, you do eat arrows, and you're very deconcentrated because you're constantly looking out for something flying your way, and you just can't oar anymore. You can't focus on your actual thing. The boat becomes immobile almost, like it's completely insane how fast chaos can break out with the oars, and how the boat then like suffers immobility. So I think there's merit to all the iconographic evidence that shows that either the walls are much higher, or that the shields are mounted in a way that whoever sits behind it on an oar is protected. So that's a pity that we didn't have the chance to try it out with this ship and to actually see. And I think I'm one of the very few lucky persons that actually had the experience of a full-blown two-ship naval battle in two historic vessels with reenactment gear, and that can actually testify to the deadliness of arrows shot from the other vessel. That's like the main weapon you have. So when you have a ship like this one with 26 to 28 seats for oaring, and then maybe another few places for officers or a captain or other sailors, etc. I wonder, I mean, it can't really transport much other than the people on board. It doesn't really have any ram or something, and there is not really any enemy fleet on the Danube that a classical quinquereme or something like that structure could engage with. So it's not really made for ramming other ships in a classical naval Mediterranean battle sort of thing. The enemies that the crews of these ships would have mainly faced are people with logboats, simple canoes basically, or like rafts, robbers, bandits that are hiding in the many islands of the Danube here, or trying to prey probably on commercial ships that go around, try to cross the Danube in the middle of the night or something and rob people at Villa Rustica or some farm estates, and then just come back and cross the Danube again. So these patrol ships here, they're not very useful in my opinion if there's just 28 people on board rowing them, being not super fast actually, and then being able to do absolutely almost nothing against those robbers, other than maybe try and hit them and throw them over, which the stern of this ship could do. But what's the good of it if you hit them and turn them over, and then all the looted goods are lost to the Danube? That's not very sensible either. So the only thing I can imagine is that these ships are made so that you can patrol, but also it's not really useful just to have scouting missions with 3 contubernia on board. I think there was a lack of manpower on much of the Danube-Lime stretch, especially in the 4th century. Like, many towers were not actually manned or had problems to be manned. Many legionary forts had only 1 cohort left and not an entire legion. So the manpower was stretched thin. So just for reconnaissance missions to have 3 contubernia basically on one such boat is a tremendous waste of energy and manpower. I can't really picture that to be sensible. So what I can imagine is that these were combat vessels. You have people that are actually armored, sitting here rowing and policing the place, so that when there is some sort of an attack on anything, vessels, commercial ships, or like people that bring back loot from the Roman Empire lands, that these can be intercepted and that they can be engaged, so that there's like 3 ships is already 9 contubernia basically. So that's quite a lot of manpower. So you can really easily and fastly bring troops and have them be completely combat ready. So we're doing that also today with armored infantry vehicles basically, where we are completely armored and geared up and ammunitioned up on board. We are driving somewhere and we are engaging enemies then, and get out of the vehicle, we're completely armored already and are engaging. So I can see similarities to this vessel, where you can sit completely armored here, as I'm proving right now. It's totally feasible. You just row the whole day with your armor on, and as soon as there is something you see you need to intervene, you go, you land on you deboard the ship, you organize, and you engage. So you can also have your weapons, distance weapons of course here, archers, etc. It's all very possible. And I think three contubernia or 3 contubernia and a half is quite a good number to be able to engage. So yeah, I think that these ships are not just there to be rown around by people that are neither armed nor armored, because just to have one Scorpio at the front or at the back and maybe a couple of archers and then the rest is just people that row, very inefficient. It's very inefficient. You could do that much more efficiently. So I think we need to think a little bit more carefully and also face that in the academic literature. What are those ships actually for? As I said, I'm also kind of skeptical about this construction here, because it's not very useful like that, and I would imagine that the walls of the ships could be a bit higher, and or that the shields are mounted in a different way than it has been done so far. And I'd love to, that's basically one of the reasons why I'd love to try out all that thing with a complete, fully historic, fully equipped crew of reenactors, not a single modern item on board, and try out those things to see what are those ships actually made for and meant for. Also questioning, there's a reason to question if these are really Lusoriae or if these are maybe the famed Liburniae. It's not totally clear. It wasn't written on the shipwrecks what they were. These names have been assigned now, and even with ancient authors it's not quite clear what they mean when they talk of Lusoria and when they talk of Liburnia. So again, with Latin, not very clear. We can't be totally sure, I think. And I've just also had the chance to discuss this here with somebody that is studying exactly this topic, writing his PhD about it. And we totally agree on the fact that we are maybe assuming a little bit too much yet about these ships. Video here, where we sleep today. Sheltered myself in this concrete block. Beeswax candle here. Made myself a shelter. And I hope the wind be too bad. It's quite cold tonight. And I have my trusty soldier's blanket here, plus my sheepskin and another blanket here, because just a soldier's cloak with these temperatures would be not enough for me. Especially my feet get very cold, I have to say. And so I'm using a casula as well to wrap my feet in. I also leave my shoes on, actually. I find that leaving socks and shoes on helps sleeping and not wake up from having too cold feet. So then I have also put my tent cloth over myself to create a bit more of an air layer and to prevent the wind from howling through here, because I am in a sort of concrete block. The rest of the terrain is not really suitable for sleeping. There's a lot of little rocks and everything, and just can't sleep with my gear on that too well. So I chose that more flat surface here. And yeah, but they act like a little bit like a wind canal, so we'll try to get a good night's rest here and continue tomorrow.